Welcome back, Album Book Club viewers, to another interview. This week we talked to Mike of A Tiger Made of Lightning, a metal band out of Columbus with some of the greatest names I've ever seen. Let's get to the music. So I think the first question that's on everyone's mind is, where did the name A Tiger Made of Lightning come from?
I'm a genius and I came up with it all on my own. No, I'm just kidding. It was actually on a Cards Against Humanity card. The card said David Bowie flying in on a tiger made of lightning. And I was always just like, if I ever need that as a band name, that's gonna be the first thing I go with. And then the time came for me to start a band. I was like, it was obvious.
What influences did you guys have when you were making the album?
We are really heavily inspired by bands like Under Oath, Devil Wears Prada, Every Time I Die. Let's see, who else was really influential? Like Foreign Hands. So a lot of, that kind of like metalcore, hardcore adjacent kind of stuff. Just anything with like really sick riffs that we can, I can yell over,
Heck yeah, that's the way to approach it, I think.
I agree. Gotta have fun with it.
If there's no fun, there's no love.
Yeah, exactly.
What made you guys come together and form a band?
So whenever I started this band back in 2020, it was just me for a while because obviously the pandemic was happening, so we really couldn't do a whole lot of stuff. So I put our first song, Exhausted, out, and then there were like 6 months, and then when everybody could kind of start getting vaccinated and kind of like re-emerge into society, I was like, all right, who's my dream lineup? And I've spent 6 years before that, just building up friendships in the scene. I was in another band, so just kind of had that Rolodex of people. And so my first reach out was Alex, our bassist, and then I reached out to Colin, and then Landon, and then our other buddy Steve, who was our original drummer. And I was just like, there's no way they're all gonna be down for it, and every single one of them was. So I got my first round draft picks. They're all first round draft picks, and then Steve left to join a touring band, and then we had Jake, who just immediately jumped on. We were just like, there's no way he's gonna play drums. He's the front man for Courtney from work. He's busy. He was just like, yeah, I'll do it. And he was amazing. So then he was with us for 2.5 years. So yeah, it's just, the universe is aligned very nicely for this band, and I'm very grateful for it. Yeah.
And with COVID and being in a genre that is typically hard to get backing for, how do you guys kind of fight through that, especially with the local scene?
I feel very fortunate in where we are just as people and like the connections we built up. We've played with a lot of different genres of bands. I love a mixed bill, We've never been wanting to pigeonhole ourselves and like we're only gonna play with other heavy bands. Like we don't only, we're only gonna play with like the other two metalcore bands in Columbus, because you're right, that would be very limiting. And our last show, it was our album release show, and we had like more of like kind of a shoegaze slash like second wave emo band, Minnows. They're amazing. We had Lucky Shot, Sode from Crimson Armada's other band, and they're very like turnstile-ish, so they were fantastic. And then we had Dimwit, who is very similar to like The Story So Far and like that sad boy pop punk, and that was such a fun. They were still similar enough that it worked really well, but they were also different enough that it was able to stay really interesting, and there was like something for everybody. So I love shows like that.
I play in a cover band, so we don't really get to mix and match, but every time I play a show mix and match, it's so fun because it's like you play rock and then the next guy's on like pseudo trap or house music. It's like, what's going on? It's just great.
Absolutely, and as a musician, like you want that variety, right? Like I don't want to play the same style all the time. I mean, we started out and like a lot of our songs were really more like easy core, like heavy pop punk kind of stuff, and then we kind of slowly merged into more like the heavier stuff, but still with that kind of easy core vibe. And then for our first full length and this one, we definitely like lean pretty heavy into the metalcore stuff, and just kind of where we are right now. It's like really fun. We're vibing with it. The music's coming very easily, and so we're just kind of leaning into it until the wind shifts.
Speaking of playing live, do you have any fun live show stories?
I mean, every show has its own fun. That's a great question, because I don't know. I have fun every show. In particular, for the title track for our most recent album, I have a diagram of what a manticore is. So our title track is Manticore from our album Manticore. Stream it. But I have a diagram that I made of, so the lyrics are body of a lion, face of a man, tail of a scorpion with spikes on the end. So I cut out a scorpion tail, I cut out a lion, and then I cut out our producer Jacob Mooney's face really big, and then I stuck that, and I just glued them all together, and the word Manticore, and I hold it up while I do perform that. And people have a lot of fun with it. Also, our release show was the first time I busted out the saxophone. So I played a saxophone solo, so that was really fun. I'm looking forward to doing that more.
Cool. I actually did have a question about who did the saxophone on Manticore. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm a saxophone player myself, and
Hell
I
yeah.
thought it was awesome,
Yeah.
man.
I was like, my marching band experience finally paid
Me too.
off, right?
All right. Well, speaking of having fun, do you have any tips for people who are getting into the industry on how to stay having fun with creating music?
Yes, 100%. So I have been in bands with all kinds of people from lots of different places, personalities and stuff like that. And if I've learned anything, it's be with people you'd hang out with outside of music. Be with good quality people. If they're great players, that's even better, but start with like the people you would hang out with if you weren't playing music together. And don't be afraid to suck, because you'll get better the more you play together. And if you're with people you'd hang out with anyway, you're willing to suck, you're willing to just like make a bunch of noise and have the best time ever, it can only get better from there. By the way, I'm totally pulling from that Dave Grohl quote because I 100% believe that.
All right. I think our time is wrapping up here, so we're going to do two of our favorite things. We're going to ask you for an album for us to review on our live show on Friday. So if you got an album you think we should listen to, I will say we're pretty divisive. We're pretty subjective, so we can be mean. If it's an album you love, we may be mean to it, and you're more than welcome to come review it with us.
I am looking it up right now because I want to give you the actual name of it. The band Minnows that I told you about, I want you guys to listen to that album. The name of the record is Foreign Moon, and it is fantastic. It's like if Super Heaven was fronted by Jay Mascis from Dinosaur Jr. That's the vibe.
All right, and now we get to our favorite segment of the show. This is the Plug Yo Shit segment. This is where you get to shout out everything you're on and everything you're doing. Right
on. So our most recent album, Manticore, dropped on January 17th. So we're just about a month from release, and so go stream that. We're on all the social medias. We're at A Tiger Made of Lightning on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're at ATMOL Band on Blue Sky. We don't do Twitter anymore for obvious reasons. And we also have a Bandcamp. So it's tigermadeoflightning.bandcamp.com. I think that's how that URL works. So, but yeah, we're streaming on anywhere you look for music. So yeah.
I think that does it.